Hello, 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 my beautiful lab rats. My name is Darian of Lab Shenanigans, and welcome back to Scientifically Speaking. For today's episode, our special guest is a great friend of mine, Fabiola Andujar, who's a research technician turned actor starring in the HBO show Love and Death. We talk about the undergrad life, working as research techs, and balancing out science and theater. Enjoy. Okay. Hello, everyone. Today I have my wonderful, fabulous, gorgeous friend, Fabiola. Hello, Fabiola. How are you?
Hi, Darian. I'm good. I'm good.
So Fabiola and I, we go way back. We used to work
hmm
as research techs back at our previous institution that we let's not name drop, but we used to work at a school in Houston. We worked there for about 3 years, from what, 2017-ish to 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fabiola, can you talk about, I guess, where you went to undergrad and what you studied?
Yeah. So I went to undergrad at Rice,
Hot.
in Houston.
She's smart.
And
She's so smart.
oh, look who's talking. I studied, cognitive science and neuroscience.
What, you studied what science?
Cognitive science.
Oh, I think you said communist science. I'm like, what kind what kind of science is this? Cognitive science. Wait, so you double
Oh,
majored?
yeah, I did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And that took 4 years to study?
Yep.
Oh, wow. How was your time at Rice?
It was good. I loved it. I actually walked on the team my freshman year to run because I used to run track in
I
in
remember,
high school.
yeah, you ran a lot even after undergrad. You ran a lot as a research tech.
I did. Yeah, I would run around like the park and everything. So it was fun. I walked on my freshman year. I made the team the following year. And it was good. It was a lot of kind of stressful balancing, school and running. But at the same time, I thought it was a great balance and a great way to like meet people and stuff. Rice has a college system. So, like in your dorm where you live,
Right.
there are people that you can like meet and stuff. But even then, it created like a nice environment for me to constantly be with like the same people.
The way that I think of Rice University is that y'all have different dorms, but y'all call the dorms colleges, and the colleges are
Yeah.
like the houses in Harry Potter, right?
I think that's what they're trying to go for. It's kind of nerdy, but whatever.
Which college did you stay in?
So I lived at Sid. We were called the Citizens, and our motto
Ew,
was death from
ew.
I know. Our motto was death from above, and it was the party college, I guess. We do not choose them. They randomly assign us to it.
And when you were an undergrad, did you do like I guess additional research on top of running and double majoring?
I did. I would do it during the summers. Yeah, that's really when I would do it was during the summers,
It's at
not usually
Rice or in
during
the
the
medical
school year.
center?
No, so I would do it in the medical center as well, but the summer after my freshman year, I actually did it at UT Austin. I did research there for like 2 months, and
Wait,
then the
really?
summer, yeah, I did. Yeah,
Do you know whose lab?
I do.
Wait,
It was
uh, don't don't name drop, but what building? What building?
I don't remember the building, but it's like the science or the bio building. Like, when you
Uh,
drive down
MBB. Is it M?
NBB.
Yeah.
Yep, I think so. I think so. It's got
The
like
color is like
yeah, you
teal and white, right? On the
that's
outside.
exactly that's the one.
Oh my gosh, brings back memories. I used to go there all the time to study that building, and then
Mm,
I don't know if remember the building right across from it, but it's called
that's also a lab.
the Norman Hackerman building, the NHB. And
Yeah,
I would always
exactly.
study there, fifth floor, and like no one knew about it. It was secluded, nice view of the campus, but I mean, at the time it was fairly new. Yeah, I would study there all the time. Wow, I didn't know you studied at UT over the summer. It's crazy. It makes me wonder, like, what if we crossed paths and we didn't even
I
know it? Or
know.
like, what if we saw each other? But no, I feel like if I saw you at the time, I would remember you because you have a very distinct, gorgeous face.
Oh my
And
gosh. Again, look who's talking. Okay,
stop, you're making
no.
me stop. You're making me question my personality. Like, am I straight? God damn, damn, little lady. And so after you graduated, did you decide to work at well, let's just call it our institution. Like, did you
Our
decide to work at
institution.
our institution afterwards?
Yeah. So yeah, graduated Rice. I did a lot of research at BCM as an undergrad during the
Mm,
summers as well. And that's kind of how I heard about our institution because it was affiliated with a medical school right
yeah,
next to it. When I graduated Rice, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. At the time, I knew I wanted to do something research related. And
girl,
also, I thought, medicine, research,
me
maybe
too.
both,
Was it that quarter life
And
crisis?
that quarter
It was
life
that quarter life
crisis.
crisis.
It was
Okay, everyone who's listening, there's going to be a period of time after you graduate undergrad, and you're going to
Mhm.
experience this feeling of being lost, and you're not going to know your purpose in life, and you're going to have a quarter life crisis. And I just want to reassure everyone that it is normal. Everyone is going to feel that way. Do not feel like you are the only one. No. I think at that time, a lot of people find out what they're truly passionate in or what they want to go for. And if not, it's okay. Like life is literally a journey. It's a
It
journey, darling.
truly
It's trial and error. You try things that you might be interested in. And if you're not, then go for something else. But it's also tough because
Yeah.
you spend 4 years studying in undergrad and I might want to go for this. And then some people decide to not go for it. And then, hold on, I got to burp. Ugh. I am so sorry. Excuse me. Not everyone wants to pursue that specific career, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's a thing. So I was always, ever since I was young, I was interested in film, but we'll get to that later.
She's a
And
theater
I was
girl.
like, oh my gosh, it's funny. I never did theater. I took some classes, but like never did theater.
A
But
lot of good actors are like that. Kudos to you
yeah.
for being a good actress and not having the training for it.
It was one of those things that, I was always interested in film. I didn't know really how to kind of pursue it. You're doing schoolwork, you're doing academia, you really, realize like I like this in academia, you dedicate most of your time to it, and you kind of don't see of anything else as being a possibility at the time. At Rice, I think it was my junior year, I took a film like elective class and someone told me, hey, I'm taking these like acting classes and during the weekends and I think they're cool and blah blah blah. I was like, sure, I'll sign up during the weekends, one day a week. And I did that. So when I graduated, to answer your question, I was like, that was kind of in the back of my mind. But I
Mhm.
really was like, I think I want to pursue research. This is what I've been doing, like medical research, maybe like an MD PhD program, maybe this or that. The best step would be take a year to do research,
Mhm.
just to figure that out, apply all that stuff. And so I reached out to a couple of labs, and one of the labs was in our institution.
Right.
And I interviewed there, learned about the research, the project, and I was like, okay, this is neat. And I could tell, right off the bat, they were, a young PI. They just got their lab. I wouldn't say young in their career, but young,
Yeah.
starting their own lab. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be great. I'm looking forward to this chapter.
Our journeys are very similar because I feel like the time that you joined your lab, I joined my lab separately. We went through our quarter life crisis. Do I want to do MD, PhD, or PhD? And for a while, I was really set on MD, PhD. And then we both worked at our institution. And I remember I would always see you. We were in separate
Yeah.
labs. At the time, my PI was a postdoc. Was your PI a
Yes.
postdoc? Your P
No, so he just got his lab, but we were on the same floor on
Oh,
the
right, right,
11th
right.
floor.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Y'all were on the 11th floor, and then my PI was a postdoc at the time, and y'all were right across from us. And every time I imaged like any gels in the hallway, I would always see you. You were either imaging or I would just see you in the hallway. And I remember
Yeah,
because you were just
exactly.
like I said, you were really beautiful. Like you were
Oh my
gorgeous.
gosh,
And
stop. Stop.
and I just remember you being like the really pretty girl. The moment that I started talking to you was, I think, about a year after I started working as a tech. Both of our PIs got their own labs. And then
Exactly.
both of our labs moved from the 11th floor to the ninth floor. And instead of being across the
Mhm.
hallway, we like shared the same side of the floor
Side.
together. And so I saw you more
Yeah.
frequently. And then I don't remember when we started talking.
I remember wanting to talk to you, but you guys have to understand Darian is such a hard worker.
Oh,
Which I'm sure you guys already know all the tea about that, but you really are.
no,
And
okay.
I just remember you being like the cool kid. I was like, I want to talk to him so bad, busy and stuff.
To
Yeah.
be fair, I think that our institution just has very high expectations and goals. Both of our PIs had like a fire burning under their asses. that stress is kind of placed onto us to do our work and like keep pushing us. Some PIs do it in a very healthy way, some in a very unhealthy way. I
Yeah.
would like to say that both of our PIs, like we're to know my PI, but I think your PI also did it in a very unhealthy way, specifically to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like in the beginning, like I kind of knew what I was getting into. I knew he didn't have that many people in the lab. Kind of student
Wait,
who would just do behavior all the time.
wasn't I'll bleep that out, but he was the lab
Yeah.
manager, right? Or did he come
Yeah,
after?
he was. He was there when I got there.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then, so it was just him and actually two other recently graduated like students who were also working in the lab. But our lab was so small that we would have like our own thing that we would do. Like only one of the researchers there would just do behavior. The other one would just, actually, that other researcher would do whatever the heck they told him to do. But
I
soon
know who you're
after
talking
I came,
about.
he left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he left and then it fell onto me. And so then I had my own project. Yeah, I know that my PI was under a lot of stress, like at home and the workplace. And the person who mentored him, she's exceptional. She's a huge name. So she was the director of the institute. And obviously, yeah, there's a lot of pressure for both of our PIs. When I got there, I was kind of told what I was going to do. And then I realized as soon as I got there that there people in my lab weren't that happy. But I feel like I shouldn't complain. That was kind of like a red flag, but I was like, oh, it's fine. And then I had a talk with my PI, and he was actually he's very supportive. And I know, like, obviously, I wasn't perfect either. In the beginning, I had a talk with him, and he was like, yeah, like, what are your goals? And I told him what my goals were, science oriented goals. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're this. And like, you could go anywhere. Like, you could go
Yeah.
here, you could do this. And it was like, he was very positive about that. And I thought that was excellent. And while I was working there, we were doing like pediatric research studying bipolar disorder. And
Mm-hmm.
what my project was basically our lab manager would get blood samples and he would send them to the stem cell core at the medical school and they would reprogram those stem cells. I would get them, I would induce them into NPCs, neuronal pluripotent stem cells, and then neurons. What we would do is we would just kind of like do assays and test different things on these neurons that were basically the patient's bipolar neurons on a dish
Yeah.
to see how to most effectively, treating bipolar disorder.
You came in on the weekends a lot.
Exactly, because neurons, they require a lot of attention. NPC stem cells, they just require a lot of attention. You need to always change the media, feed them, all these. Yeah, I was there a lot. I would see you a lot. I mean, you definitely were there more than me, but
Well,
I
to be
remember.
fair, I think on our floor, we were both there a lot. I mean, on our
Yeah,
side of the floor, there were about roughly, I want to say 15, 20 people. And out of those 20, like we would stay there the latest because there was a lot of pressure for us to, I don't know about you, but I think my project was was a really long project and like pulling in a lot of
mm,
grants. So I'm sure your project was like that too. And so I'm sure your PI was
yeah,
pushing you to get more data, to stay later, to do all that. But I think your PI did a pretty good way of like communicating that, right? Making sure that you're doing, I guess, all the different tasks that you are like assigned to do and giving you like a clear direction and not really like overstepping boundaries.
yeah. I think so. In the beginning, they were pretty loose about that. Like I said, I noticed over time, people kept leaving, and so we were kind of like thinning
Mm,
down. Yeah, I realized people weren't that, content. But yeah, I think it's also like a social, the environment too that was cultivated was interesting. And then somebody else joined, and I think so that helped the whole team be more like effective and more free flowing.
I think one of the things that really like brought us closer together was our love for theater. I think by the time that we moved to the ninth floor, I had already done like social media and stuff. And I've been
Yeah,
doing
you
like
did.
improv on the side. And I found out you went to New York and then you saw a play. You saw
Slave play.
Slave Play. And you told me so many
Yeah.
great things about it. I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, you really love theater. And we bonded over that.
We did. I do remember that was actually when I told my PI down the line that I made my choice. I was like, I don't think I'm going to pursue science. Yeah, like while I was in lab, I received a call from an agent because they saw some of the work that I had done in that school in the area that every
Yeah,
weekend I would go since I was in my junior year of college
right.
on the weekends. And the instructor was like, yeah, there's this agent who reached out. They wanted to meet with you. And I was like, sure, I'll meet with them on this upcoming weekend since I was in lab during the week. That was early on, actually, soon after I joined the lab. And I met with them and they offered me like a contract for representation. And I was like, okay, well, can I have a week to think about this? And I remember staying one day, I was like 6 or 7 at my desk and I was looking at this, going over this contract, being like, is this something that I, want to do? And I was like, you know what? I'll do it for fun on the side. I did that. And then in the beginning, I would get a lot of like opportunities to go audition for things, but I wouldn't go because I was tethered to the lab. So
Yeah.
I led a double life for a while
I
while I
feel
was
you,
in
girl. I
lab. And I know
feel you.
you know about
Yes.
that. Yeah.
I guess for the listeners that don't know what an agent does, one, how does an agent reach out to you? And two, what do they do?
They're members of your team. Ideally, everyone has a different relationship with their agent, but they submit you for things that
Hmm.
sometimes only agents can submit to, and they get you opportunities that maybe you yourself would not have been able to get. They give you advice on like, you should consider this, you shouldn't consider this, you should put yourself out this way, you should only take these types of things, or you should do this. They kind of just guide you, they mentor you.
Yeah.
Um,
So I don't know if agents for, I guess, like digital stuff differs from like acting. My agents, they help find a lot of different brand opportunities. They do all the negotiations. And I don't think I told you, I got new managers. And so my
oh,
new
that's
managers,
amazing.
they're like my BFFs, and I talk to them about anything. They also help bring in like acting opportunities and brand collaborations, but I work really close to my managers, and then they work closely with my agents. And so agents
Exactly.
do all the negotiation for me, and then my managers, they do the execution of like all the agreements. It's been so nice. I think the last time that we talked
Yeah.
was when we were like, what, it was like a month ago or something? Probably a
Yeah,
month
I
ago.
think we ran into each other.
Things have like really changed for the both of us.
First of all, I know you're a hard worker. One, people should always do what they want to do. Obviously, if that's science and research, put your all into it because it's very important. Execute it, kill it, do it. But if that's not what it is, do whatever that thing is. And with you, like, I know that you, based on conversations we had in lab, I know you started, lab shenanigans. It's kind of like a fun thing to do, like kind of like in the evenings on the weekends. You knew what you were doing. You had like that
Girl,
direction or something.
literally
People really loved it.
lab shenanigans started out as a hot mess, and I really, it's always been a fire, and I've been just fueling the fire. I think it's so cool that while you're working as a research tech that you figured out that, I want to go into acting. Let me tell my PI
Yeah.
this. And a lot of students would be nervous telling their PI this sort of information because
Yeah.
most of the time, from what I've seen, PIs don't take that information well. So, were you nervous coming into your PI's
Yes.
office telling him that?
So I didn't say anything for a while, but they suspected that something was going on and that research wasn't my sole focus. We would have these like meetings on Mondays. It would be one of those things where he would ask like, how was everybody's weekend? What did you guys do this weekend? And I would just be like, oh, nothing. When really I had like spent the weekend in another city, like wrapping things
Yes.
up or doing something and then coming in and like not sleeping and being like, oh, hi, Monday morning. Here we are.
I
And that
think you're
kind of
selling
lasted for a
yourself short a
while.
bit. You got to tell them some of these projects that you're in because you were in really big stuff.
No, it didn't start off that way. So I remember, well, I told him this. I told because it's related. I told my PI, hey, I'm going to take a month leave of absence to do, certain things. I went to an acting conservatory, and it was a summer one at Yale, and I spent a couple of weeks there. And that's what really introduced me to like top caliber theater actors.
Oh,
And I
God,
came in not having
girl.
any theater
So
experience. Yeah, they're
nonchalantly, I
insane.
was like, yeah, like
Oh,
no big
whatever,
deal. It
whatever.
was like so
No, it
easy
was
to
one
get
of
in.
no. No, I guess that's just talking. But no, it was one of those things where that experience really shaped me. And I was like, dang, some people like devote their whole career to this and they write incredible plays. I had never even read a play up until then. I felt so like, I was like, I need to catch up.
Which is
Like,
even more
and
mind blowing. Bitch, I studied theater for 4 years and you're a way better actor than me.
no,
Like,
I,
but you're
I don't think
so,
so.
oh, good.
No, I remember coming home. I would remember coming home from lab and like going on your page and just dying at like your like mRNA little like videos and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. No, I think you're insane. The whole experience, it was positive. I learned a lot. I kind of learning more about like what theater is, the questions that
Yeah.
people ask, how deep people go into like creating circumstances and like how politically rich plays
Yeah.
can be and
Oh,
how
yeah.
socially like you could really say something through like a dramatic piece that
Oh,
is
yeah.
so effective and you can leave there feeling it. So that's when I heard of Jeremy O'Harris. Jeremy O'Harris, in insane playwright. He had just graduated. This was in 2019 when I went to do this thing. And I was like, I want to see Slave Play. And so a few months later, I told my partner, I was like, hey, do you want to go to New York City, go see Slave Play? And so we did, and we saw it. It was amazing. That was before it got nominated for all these Tonys and whatnot. It like swept.
You were the
Win,
first one who
unfortunately,
told me
but
about this. And then I started
Mhm.
hearing more about it the past couple of years.
Yeah, I came back and I was like, Darian, have you heard about Slave Play? You need to see it. And you're like, no, because it was new. It hadn't even opened. I mean, it hadn't opened when I heard about it. I just knew like it was going to be on Broadway. And I was like, you know what the heck? I feel like I want to go see it. And yeah, I left there bawling. I remember my partner was bawling too. And I was like, the fact that he cried during it was so funny. But anyway, so then I came back and I
Mhm.
went back to the lab. And there was something burning inside of me. I was like, I
Mhm.
don't know. This is not it. This is not it. But I was kind of afraid to just go into the unknown.
Okay,
And so then,
Elsa.
but then I no. But yeah, I came back and I was like, oh boy, something's gonna change. And then eventually I was like, I'm gonna leave lab. But while I was there, yeah, I got some projects. I did a few like, smaller things. And then I started getting more like audition opportunities from my agent. And then that's when I started realizing I can't do both. I can't
Mhm.
devote my time to this. And
Right.
I have to ask myself a question, what's my long-term goal? So then I decided to leave. And now I've been doing this full time for the last couple of months.
Were you able to finish out the project?
No, that project was huge. I
Mm,
was able to publish a few other side things that we were
yeah.
doing, like help publish those and be involved in those, and that was very rewarding.
Were you ever nervous of having to transition or like pass the project on to someone else?
In the beginning, I kind of was, but I think my PI, and rightfully so, had a lot of ownership over it, as if like sometimes I would say some PIs, which I've noticed in that building and in other labs, were such team players, easygoing
Yeah.
and outgoing. I don't think our PIs were like that. And
Mm,
so I think they
God,
love
no.
to execute control. And I think when one does that for a prolonged period of time, I think it weighs on the person, and you
Hmm.
start realizing your sense of attachment to
Self-worth.
the thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, honestly, for a while I thought that was the case. For a while, definitely. And then I was like, you know what, F this. No, like I don't think that this is how people should treat people. But then again, like I know that I also was not perfect. I had a double life. Like I get that. But yeah, after a while I was like, it's okay. They're gonna figure it out, right? They have everything else under control. They can also figure this out once I leave. I did a lot for it. That's one of the reasons why I actually took such a long time to leave, was because there was a lot done, and I know this could have been great. And also, like you and I actually, I don't know if you've told your listeners this, but we presented our projects and they
Oh,
did
yeah.
really well at a symposium. Go on.
Wow, that's a really shady story. Do you remember the night before the symposium?
Yes, I do.
We we both had our printed out posters and we were walking
Hmm.
with, let's call her Cheyenne. Well, we had trouble trying to find the where the
The
conference
place.
was going to be held at. So Cheyenne
Yeah,
was like,
it was
I think she said that she hung up her poster already. She pretty much escorted us to where that conference was, and you were a bit concerned about your poster. And I think because you're such a perfectionist,
oh my
you
god.
wanted everything to be right. But once we got there, you hung up your poster, and I thought it looked really good. But Cheyenne, I really don't know what was her intention, but
I don't either.
she was kind of nitpicking over your poster. If she was really, really close with us, I think that would have been
Hmm.
okay. For me to see
No,
her
I
do that to you, I was like,
yeah.
why would you do that like the night before the conference? Because like that would affect someone's self-esteem. And so what she said bothered you. What you ended up doing was fixing your poster that night. And I remember you texting me and asking me questions about FedEx and having it printed the following morning.
Overnight. Yeah.
Yes, I really thought your poster looked fine. I didn't know how
Yeah.
to put posters together. I don't know. Maybe Cheyenne had experience working in this, so who knows? Like maybe what if her input was really good? I don't know. But at the time, I just remember thinking
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I probably wouldn't say that. The next day, we presented our posters to the judges, and I didn't see your presentation. I don't think you saw mine, but we both kind of caught up and said that our presentations went well. And then later that day during the award ceremony, that's when we both found out that we both won best poster presentation for our categories. Mine was
Yeah.
best basic research and yours was,
Translational medicine.
oh my god, oh, mind blown.
Translational research. So it was one of those things. And I think this person was also competing with us. I think she was actually competing with you at the basic
No,
in the base.
I think she was competing with you.
Oh, that's right, because her lab. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
she
right.
was she was
Yeah.
competing with you, and then she caught up with me. She texted me. She said, "Oh, I could have won best translational research, but I didn't have time to fix X, Y, and Z. I guess Fabiola deserved it." I'm like, "What, girl? Just say congratulations and move on." It
It's
was so
okay.
frustrating.
But that just illustrates a lot of people
Oh yeah,
in that environment. Yeah. But I think that's Cheyenne's personality. And thankfully, yeah, so I didn't really interact with her all that much. There's some people that I know also have similar experience, have had similar experiences. And so I didn't take it that seriously. But that night, I do remember as soon as I heard that, I was like, I only have like 10 hours to present, not even because it was early in the morning the following day. So I was texting you like a maniac. I didn't want to keep you up, but you're already kind of up working on other stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, should I redo this? Should I take this to a FedEx? Or do I print this overnight? Because it's a whole huge poster, you know?
yeah.
So I was thinking about that, and then I realized I was like, you know what? Forget it. It is what it is, and I didn't even change it. I just kept it,
Oh,
and it went well.
I thought you did make those changes.
No, because I can print it overnight.
Oh,
Yeah,
your poster
but
looked great nonetheless.
well, thank you. The presentation went well. It was good. It was a learning experience. I think you and I both went through a couple of things where it kind of teaches you how to deal with people. You know, like
Yeah.
how to be a little deaf sometimes to some of the things that certain people have to
Yeah.
say.
Towards the end of us working as research techs, things got a little crazy on
Oh
both of
yeah.
our parts. And I guess, like, how did your PI handle you leaving the lab?
Really what it was about was because I filmed this little thing in lab and I thought it was okay
Right.
because my significant other also he was a medical student at the time and he was in doing research in the same building that we were in. He would film these little skits because a lot of students do it across the
Yeah.
school for retreats, like the
Right. The
genetics
genetics
retreat, for
retreat.
instance. So he would do that with his lab mates, and a lot of people would do that just around the school, whoever wanted to submit the skits, and they would submit it as long
Yeah.
as you didn't show the logos or anything. I
Yep.
thought it would be fine. And so I did it at night. I was like, I'm gonna record a little thing for fun. I'm gonna do this and whatever. It was like this little independent thing that somebody like recruited me for. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, sure, I can do a little self-tape thing. And I did that, no logos, no anything. But I think at that point you had blown up so much
Mm.
that the whole hospital system actually changed the rules for social media and being able to record because
Ah.
you got so huge. Because I remember
Wow.
having a meeting with my PI and somebody else, and they mentioned that they were like, yeah, things are changing because of, people doing their own videos. If anybody is making money from this, we're made aware of this, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, yeah, it's fine. So that kind of made it weird. And then that's kind of when I said, I was like, hey, I just want to put in, just a 3 months notice that I'm going to be leaving because at the time
Which is very
I got
generous.
cast.
I think it's polite to give like 2 weeks notice, but when we both
Exactly.
did it, 3 months was kind of like embedded in our heads by both of our PIs to always give. In fact, I think for me, I gave a 6 months notice to my
Yeah.
PI, and
Well,
even then, like, she was so unhappy.
but hey, I made it known. I was like, in 3 months, I'm leaving. I had an opportunity come up for a project, and I was like, there's no way that I can do this well and this. I think I'm going to take a risk. And I remember going through my own little mental breakdowns of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? Like, what is going on? But I did it after 3 months. I left, and that was that. It was iffy at the end. It was weird.
Yeah.
I do recall kind of like this attitude of kind of in a way making fun because I understand people in the science world don't necessarily respect, especially like I know my PI and certain people because they're so involved in what they're doing, and I rightfully so. They don't really respect like the arts, for instance.
Oh,
And so I
hands
do
down,
remember
yes.
hearing things being said or like laughs or things like that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I think people know too much about my double life. So I just need to focus on myself and just, be really effective these 3 months and then make the leap and do what I need to do. Because at the end of the day, everyone's gonna have an opinion, but I did not take it very well at the time. Wow. Like no one's ever made fun of me
He
before for
was
something that I want to do.
he was very condescending to you.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I was talking to somebody about this too, and they were like, well, I think people under that specialty just have a tendency to be passive aggressive. And I was like, it's still not an excuse because I think your PI and my PI were both in the same specialty.
And when I told my
Yeah.
PI that I wanted to focus on pretty much social media as a career, there was like a moment of disbelief. And
Exactly.
are you sure? Is it going to work? She was trying to guilt trip me to stay. Like, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think you'll be able to live off of that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what you're paying me is not enough. I'm not even here for the money, but
Exactly.
what I'm doing on the side is more than double than what I'm doing here. That was when she was trying to like think of another excuse to try to like make me stay. And she was so manipulative to try to get me to stay to continue doing this project. And I told her, I kept reassuring her, like, I'm going to continue. I'll like write out this project, but I think we have enough experiments to tell a complete story.
Yeah.
I think she was just very ambitious with this project and wanted to do more. It was just frustrating that both of our PIs were not understanding our goals and not wanting to
Yeah.
help us and trying to my PI was just trying to like try to make me stay by saying like, oh, are you sure you want to do social media? Well, I'm sure in order to do social media, I'm sure you have to continue being a research tech to do this. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that says a lot. And I do recall your PI being one that was always hovering on top of you
Yep.
guys and always there. Whereas mine,
Micromanagement.
yeah, I remember just seeing that. And mine was kind of like the polar opposite. I know they had a lot of stress personally and also at work, but ours was like there would be times when they just weren't there. And and I know that affected some of the people in the lab that never said anything, but after a while, like that really riled things up. But I also
Mhm.
feel like I have no room to complain because I saw what happened on you guys' side as well, like on our floor.
No. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in like, oh, because someone else out there is suffering more than I am, I'm not allowed to say anything. No, like I don't believe in that. Everyone is having their own struggles, problems, and the way that you're feeling is valid. You're allowed to say whatever you want because it's happening, it's true.
Yeah.
So after you left the lab, you decided to become a full-time actress.
That was what I did. Actually, it was funny. There was like a little going away like event, I guess, that our lab put together, and my PI gave me a book. Oh my gosh, what's that comedian's name? He passed away. He went
Robin
to
Williams?
Juilliard. Robin Williams, yeah. He gave me like his autobiography as like a going away gift. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Aw.
But anyway, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, when I was there, I got the opportunity to be on a project called The Chosen, and I was there, not a huge role, but like a tiny little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And after
Girl, a
that,
role is a role. Like you're
one day
adding
at a
to your
time.
resume. You're adding to your resume.
That's really what it was about. And then I started doing these classes with this casting director in here. She was located in Austin, but it was after the pandemic, and so it was more of like over Zoom kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did that with her for a while, and she was working on this project that was going to be filming in the area for HBO Max, called Love and Death. But I
Mm-hmm.
never knew anything about this.
Yeah.
And so I was just in class and she was like, "Hey, Fabiola, can I talk? Can you stay after class?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." You know how your heart always thinks, you're like, what did I do wrong?
Like literally,
But I was
it's
like,
it's like the fight or flight response, like triggered by those
from
words.
lab.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you stay after class? Can you come to my office? Like literally, I would be
After
like,
lab meeting.
PTSD. Those words are so triggering.
Exactly.
Yeah. See me after. See me after class. See me after meeting.
Exactly right. Exactly. So I remember I was like, yeah, of course. I put it so cool. I was like, yeah, I'll be there, absolutely. And so I stayed on and I was like, sure. She was like, hey, one of the people who works for me is gonna give you a call later. Just make sure it's about this project that's coming up. If you're interested, are you free until April? And I was like, yeah, I am. Because I didn't even know. I was like, I am. Let me check my schedule. But I was like, yeah, I'm available. I don't even know what it was for, what it is. It could have been babysitting her kids. I don't know until April. She was just like, there's this project I've got for you until April. I was like, yeah, I would love to know more. And so she's like, okay, so I'll have one of the people who, I won't name her, but she'll call you. She works for me after this. And I was like, okay. So that evening I get a call like at 8 p.m. and she was like, "Hi Fabiola, how are you doing?" Very nice. She was like, "Can I schedule a meeting for you? We have a client. It's going to be the next morning at 9. It's just going to be like a role for this project that we're working on. Can you send me," like, she listed a material for me to send her for consideration.
Yeah.
So I sent it to them. And then the next morning got on that Zoom meeting at 9, not knowing who was going to be on the other end. And it ended up being, and I didn't know who they were at the time because I wasn't that immersed in
Mm-hmm.
the world of film to understand that much. If I remember correctly, it was the director of the project, Leslie Linka Glatter. Her first AD, I believe, or the second director on the list was Sunday. And then another woman named Wendy, who was also one of the directors. And I think there may have been someone else in the Zoom room as well, like an executive or something, but I didn't see their face. It was just them three and me. And coming into it, I thought this was like an independent project being filmed like in a certain area. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm excited to know more about this. And so she started telling me more about it. She was like, it's based on a true story. This was published on Texas Monthly
Yeah.
years ago. It takes place in the 70s. And I was like, yeah, I would love to know more. She's like, so your role, we find it's very important to the story. It's not a lead role or anything by any means, but it's something that we think is like, crucial to like illustrating what we want
Yeah.
to illustrate. And she was like, would you be interested? I told her, yeah, I would definitely be interested. And she was like, what's your availability like? And I think the Zoom, if I'm not mistaken, this meeting happened in September of 2021, I think, either late August or early September of 2021.
Yeah.
And then she asked me, would you be available from like, this upcoming month to late March, early April? And I was like, yeah, I can definitely make myself available during that time. And she was like, okay, well, let me tell you more. You'd really just be doing this and blah, blah, blah. And I started asking her more about like, why me? Just to kind of see what her vision was. Why me? Well, who's the character? And she told me it's based on a true story. That's when I was like, I'll do more research on this person. And just kind of illustrate it. And she was like, you're going to be playing the wife of, I don't know if you know, Keir Gilchrist. And I was like, I didn't say
I
anything
do
because I
not
wasn't
know. I'm
familiar.
so
But
sorry.
no, I know exactly. She told me Keir Gilchrist, and I was like, okay, but at the time I didn't know either. But she was like, he's got his own show on Netflix. He's the lead on the show called Atypical. And I was like, okay. And here I am with like a notepad on the side, like writing down like, okay, her name, this other person's name, Atypical. Like I was like, I need to do some research. Like, but she sounded familiar, but I just didn't know who she was. But I feel like I've heard that name before.
You told me all of this when we bumped into each other at the coffee house.
Yeah. But at the time, I wasn't that aware of, certain things. I was kind of rolling in with the punches, thinking like, oh, this is like an independent project or whatever. But then I realized like there was something about it. I was like, no, this is not just that. But yeah, they were very nice. They kind of gave me the scoop. And then Wendy was like, yeah, I'll send you, the information, the Texas Monthly article for you to read. And I was like, okay, great. And we're like, okay, great. So, we agreed, blah, blah, blah. That's that. And they'll send me all the paperwork and all that stuff later. So I hung up that meeting. I did some research on my own. I get an email from like HBO and I'm like, okay, like maybe this is affiliated with HBO. I don't know what this is. I'm like doing some research. I read the Texas Monthly thing, read it towards the end, and then my jaw drops. I'm like, this story is insane. I know why they're doing this. Look everybody up. Leslie Linka Glatter is like the president of like the Directors Guild. She's helped direct some of the biggest shows. She directed Gilmore Girls. She directed like Breaking Bad, I think. Her resume.
Holy moly, that's such an inspirational story. And the last time that we a bag literally just fell on me. Okay, so for those that are listening and aren't able to see us, I'm sitting in my closet right now, and I think I just leaned back too far, and a bag just fell on me. But like I think your story is so inspirational because you were able to like follow your passions and you live this amazing double life of actress and researcher, and now you're living happily with your partner, also working as an actress. You're working with Elizabeth Olsen, like y'all are in the same show, right?
When I said yes to all of this and I like signed everything, they're like, hey, can you be on set, so and so day a few weeks later? And I was like, yeah. So I go to the set. I'm like, okay, doing my thing. I'm thinking my role, is not, because it's not a lead role or anything. It's just kind of like a featured thing that helps, get the story across. I go to the set that day and I sit down in a pew at a church and I'm sitting there, and then the actors roll in. They start sitting down behind me, and it's Jesse Plemons, Elizabeth Olsen, Kristen Ritter. And I'm like,
Oh,
so then I'm like, wait a second, what is, and I had done my research coming into it and I knew that they were on the show, but I had never expected to have the privilege to be in a scene. And then Keir Gilchrist is phenomenal as well, and his work is insane too. And just being able to like just experience that with these people. And I remember, so Leslie introduced me. She's like, oh, hi, you guys. This is Fabiola Andujar. She's like, on the top thing. And again, I was also, in a way, like so impressed by Leslie. I kind of wanted to be like, hi, Leslie. Like, I'm so grateful. Thank you. You're so impressive. But I was like, I'm not going to say anything. She's so busy. Directors are so dang busy. So I was like, I'm not even going to. I was just like, oh, hi, thank you. And she introduced me to them. And they're like, okay. And then Elizabeth Olsen taps my shoulder And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what was your name again?" And I turned around and I was like, "Oh, hi, it's an honor to work with you. It's Fabiola." And she was like, "Fabiola, nice to meet you." We do our scene, the scene ends.
Oh.
And they get up to leave, and I'm like about to get up to leave. And then Jesse Plemons comes up to me and like sticks his hand out. He's like, "Hi, Jesse, nice to meet you." And I was like, "Oh, hi, I'm Fabiola.
Creams.
How are you doing?"
Busts.
I was like, "Hi, I'm Fabiola Andujar. Nice to meet you." But yeah, I've learned a lot, just having experiences like that and that set and like in other sets too.
Oh
I'm
my.
starting to learn the landscape more now. But not and honestly, it's not that different from lab. People are under pressure. There's money involved. There are people telling people what they need when. It's a very fast-paced thing,
So it's
but
a job. Gotcha.
it's a job. It's a job.
Literally every
Exactly.
you just described a job. Oh my gosh,
But yeah.
Fabiola, it has been amazing catching up with you.
Okay.
I want to bring you back on the show. I want to keep asking
Oh, I
these
would love to
questions.
come back.
Thank you so much, Fabiola. And what are some tips to my followers who are listening? What would you like them to know?
Drink some water. I would say
Amen, sister.
stay
Amen.
hydrated. No, get your sleep. Yeah, get your sleep. That's a huge one. I mean, if you can, enjoy it. No, but I would say, go with your gut. It's like you went
Mm,
with your gut, and look at how like Lab Shenanigans has blossomed. Literally, like I do not go on Instagram without seeing a video of yours. Like that's how, and I'm sure so many people
mm.
are like that. It's just so funny. But
Amen.
yeah,
Amen, sister. Amen.
you have to follow that thing no matter what people say, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's science, whether that's medicine, whether that's research, whether that interpretive dance, whatever the heck you want to get into, you do what you do,
Get into it.
and you just get into it. Exactly right.
Slay.
I would say follow.
Boots the house
um
down, mama.
I would say that listen to your inner voice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the words of wisdom. And if my followers want to follow you, where can they find you?
Or you can hit me up on Instagram at fabiola.andujar. I hope my name is spelled
Amazing.
out on this podcast
I will
because
spell it out, girl. I will spell it
okay.
out. All right. Well, thank you, Fabiola. And I hope you have a great night. We're filming at night, by the way, guys.
I know. Thank you so much, Sharon. Have a great night. And
Thank you so
I'm gonna catch up
much.
with you after this. Bye.
Definitely.